Hello, and welcome to the Frivolous and Frugal Knitting Podcast. We are two sisters who share our fondness for knitting, the things that we create, and the love we have for the knitting community. And we do it all with the twist of both the frivolous and the frugal. I am Frivolous Dawn, and in our family's birth order, I am the fourth of 8 children.
Hello, and I am Frugal Miss Penny. I am the eldest of the 8 children, and we have 2 other members of our team who aren't with us, but please let me mention them. First of all, we have Faithful Nikki. She is number 3 in the birth order. She is our statistician, cheerleader, and sage on the stage. And we have Fearless Miss Brianna. She is our niece and the daughter of number 7. So we're grateful that they're a part of our team, and we're grateful that you're a part as well. So to returning viewers, thanks so much for tuning in again. We're hoping that you might be able to glean a nugget or two from our fiber fantasies and journeys. And for those of you who are watching us for the first time, we're tickled pink. Well, no, actually Frivolous and Frugal is purple. We're tickled purple that you're joining us. Please say hello in the chat below and tell us how you heard about us. And we too hope that you can take away a nugget or a lesson. So without further ado, please grab your knitting, your favorite note-taking device, and a sense of humor, because you're about to start with us on episode 82 of Frivolous and Frugal. Take it away, Dawn.
I don't know if it's our knitting journey or our knitting misadventures.
Well, I almost said our fiber follies. Don't you think that would have been good? I should have done it. What?
You are so good with alliteration. Go for it.
I am. I kind of liked phonics. Anyway, what's around your neck?
I'm going to start singing Hooked on Phonics songs. I am wearing Venezia by Joji Locatelli. It is a long, kind of stretched out diamond, if you will, shape. She published it as a 1 skein shawl. Now mine is not 1 skein. Of course, I had to go longer, so I think mine's about 1.5. But this is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. The yarn I used was Kiley Bamboo. Joanne is the owner of Magpie's Cottage in Sheboygan Falls, and her yarn brand is called Kiley. And it didn't have a colorway, so it's light gray, and it's got some beautiful tonal variations in it. And you know, as we head towards summer, I think I'm kind of liking bamboo. Now, it's not summer here today by any stretch, but when I feel this fabric, it definitely has a different feel, of course, than wool. I knitted on a US size 7, and on the frugalometer, I gave it $2 for the pattern and I also gave it $2 for the fiber. So yeah, and I think mine went over 100 inches, of course. So it's just weird to try to figure out how to wear it so that you catch that lace detail. And you know, interesting, this would be considered right side, where you see those garter ridges. I tend to always want to go towards stockinette.
Really?
Yeah, but the pattern has it, you know, this way out. So I guess either way would be fine. So,
yes, so reversible.
Yeah, what is around your neck?
Well, speaking of summers, mine is about to come off, just so you know. This is my Colorshift pattern by Carina Spencer. I knit mine in lace weight, and I thought that I would wear it so people, I'm going to bring this down just a little bit so people can see how the lace weight fits. I did turn the top of it under just a little bit. You can see if I wasn't so broad shouldered and I didn't want to stretch it out and I didn't want to give this as a gift, I could pull it over my shoulders as a little capelet almost. But I knit it out of Malabrigo lace in my color names, multi, blue, pink, and gray. I'm sure they have names. I didn't write them down. And I knit them on sizes 4 through 9. So the way the pattern is written, you would understand that once you buy that pay for a pattern. On the frugalometer, I gave the yarn $4 signs, and for the pattern, $2 signs.
Okay, here's the little thing on Carina Spencer. I follow her on Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram post probably a week ago. She is showing how to deal with the tail of your yarn by using a bread tie. And several of our viewers said, I learned that from Miss Penny. And then mentioned our podcast. I just thought,
Well, Miss Carina, thank you. We're so glad we're right there with you. We love those frivolous little tools. And for the record, I can see that I should never wear white or cream.
just so you know, a bread tie under no extreme is frivolous. It would be frugal.
Oh, did I say frivolous?
You did. And if that's the case, you need a CT scan.
I certainly do. Oh my goodness, that was just a slip. No, it is frugal. Yeah. Well, wait a minute. When we bejewel it, doesn't that make it frivolous?
Then it does go to the frivolous.
We need to get Miss Carina's address, and I'm going to send her some bejeweled bread ties. I can do that.
Yes, you can.
Because I'm all about giving the illusion of frivolous.
And please put our actual business card in. Don't handwrite one. Like somebody else's that you just crossed out.
I did that yesterday at work, by the way. Took a coworker's business card, crossed out her name, and put mine and handed it to the student. You know me well.
It doesn't end. This is not just a podcast thing. This is a life thing. Yes.
It is. You're seeing the way it is. No apologies, no explanations actually either. So what is, getting back on target, what is Ruby wearing?
Ruby is wearing the Eureka cowl. That's by Jessica Gore. It is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. And that yarn is Lang Yarns Splash. And it is in the blue colorway. So this yarn is more of a flat yarn. I don't know how to describe it, but these little blue blips just, obviously fade in and fade out. I believe that yarn has been discontinued. I do have a couple more skeins where instead of the blue, it's in greens and gold. So I thought it'd be a fun kind of packer thing. One of our viewers, Luann, is the one who brought to my attention this pattern because I had said I'd had that yarn. So it was a win-win. So on the frugalometer, I gave it a $3 sign for the fiber and $2 sign for the pattern. And I followed the pattern and knit it on a US 6. I did 3 of those for shop models, all with different weights of yarns. They all look nice. I did it in an Aran, a fingering, and then this tape-like yarn. Would that be what you would call it? Tape-like or
ribbon?
Ribbon, that's the word. Perfect. All right.
I have a quick question. Of all those 3 fiber sizes, did you have a favorite?
I like the way this one looks, but I think it's more the yarn. I thought the Aran weight was very bulky. I don't know if I could wear it day to day or, like around at work or anything, where it would be great underneath a coat. Something like that, just to kind of protect this area. It was a beautiful Aran weight. It was by Queensland. Oh, Kathmandu. It had like cashmere and silk in it. But I just like the look of that yarn and that pattern. So a perfect example of right pattern, right yarn. So
very cool.
What is your mannequin wearing? Ooh.
Probably one of my favorite wraps. Just one of my favorite. This is called Building with Lace by Michelle Hunter. It is a booklet that Dawn and I did as the sisters knit along. It is knit in HiKoo Rylie, which is a splitty yarn. So wasn't real fond of the yarn, but really liked all the patterns. 9 blocks of different lace patterns with a beaded edge. And for the record, it's the only item I've ever knit with beads that I've kept because I thought they were pretty subdued, not very ostentatious. They just looked good. So I knit that on a size 6 and on the frugalometer, minimum of 4. I would say, yeah, let's go 5. $5 signs for the fiber, and for the pattern, $2 signs. It was a book. I think you could take any one of these patterns and replicate it to make a scarf with just this lace or a wrap or even a blanket. So definitely worth your money there.
I love it when you can do just a short section of any lace or pattern just to give you a feel for how the pattern is written. You get to see visually what it looks like to decide if you want to incorporate it. That was a brilliant project. I've never worn mine.
I haven't either, because to me it's very elegant.
Yeah.
And when I'm out working in the yard, I just don't think it's appropriate to wear my shawl out there.
Float behind you on the riding lawnmower.
Yes. Oh, hey, you know what? Would I be sporting it or what? Okay. Well, maybe I'll consider it at some point.
Well,
Anyway, what's that?
You could wear your kiviot once in a while too, you know.
I know. I will work on that. But because it's summer here now, about 12 months out of the year, for me personally, I'm just not wearing a whole lot of knitted knitwear around my neck.
Sure.
Just not doing it right now. So I'm sure this season will pass.
'Tis the season.
It is.
All right.
So
I was
ahead.
going to ask you what's on your needles. I can see your hands moving.
Well, okay. I'm not really a polygamist when it comes to knitting, but I am just during this podcast. I'm still working on my bits and bobs
Oh yeah.
blanket. But really what's on my needles is I have started the christening set for our brand new granddaughter who will arrive in July if her dates match the doctor's dates. And I have chosen for her the angel knit or the angel lace pattern by Judy Lamb.
Oh.
This is the top, not really the bodice, but more the high collar part of the gown. I have just split and knit both sleeves, but I have to join, and I did not want to join during the podcast, so I took it off my needles. It is knit in Plymouth Dream Baby DK. You can throw it in the washer, 100% acrylic. And so for both the pattern and the yarn, in my case, they get $1 sign on the frugalometer. However, that's because I bought the pattern in the book. And I got this book at, can't remember if I got it at Goodwill or I bought it used. And as you can see, it's produced and published by Leisure Arts. I bought this booklet, I believe, for 75 cents or something like that, sold originally for $9.95. The pattern is paid for on Ravelry. If you think about it, it has 4 different patterns that come with it. I'll have the gown, the blanket, the booties, and the hat. So I thought it was moderately priced, and I would have given that a $2 sign on the frugalometer.
Oh,
yeah.
I remember when we
I'm knitting it on size 6. What?
Remember when we used to buy all of our patterns like that in books? And
I'm telling you what, I don't regret that, Dawn, because all I have to do is just go to my shelf and pick them up.
Right.
I'm so glad I did that. In fact, I have a hard time letting go of those patterns because they're so convenient. Don't require batteries or internet or anything like that.
Not that we can enter our own knit-alongs, but our Fab and Frugal, that would be a perfect example of grabbing a pattern that you already had.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
That, Cal.
I didn't think about that. What are you working on?
I continue to work on the Musselburgh by Ysolda Teague. Watch out, it's pretty colorful.
I think that is great. It makes you smile just looking at it.
Yeah, yarn is by Gauge Dye Works. I bought it at their website, gagedyeworks.com, and it's called Color Wheel. I think Ysolda did an Instagram. I don't know if it's a post or a reel or whatever it was, using this yarn, and it was spectacular. So here's my conundrum. So any advice down below would be greatly appreciated. This was a 100-gram skein. Ysolda's upgraded pattern has an Excel document that you can put in your gauge, the size you're doing, weigh your yarn once you're done with the initial increases, and it'll tell you how long you can knit the hat in case you didn't have a full skein. So I did just that. And the little calculation said 17 inches. I want 24, by the way. I thought, oh, there's no way. I'm not going to run out of yarn at 17 inches. Oh, I ran out of yarn at 17 inches. So I need 5 more inches. Gauge Dye Works, when they produce these beautiful colorways, start or end their skein with waste yarn. The waste yarn on mine happens to be this gray, and that is a lot of waste yarn. So I'm just going to keep going, and that'll be what has to be on the inside of the hat. Now, do I have enough for 5 more inches? I doubt it. So I don't know what I will do at that point other than try to find another gray. We'd looked at my stash for some blues that would match. I had nothing that was a nice match. So I just figured I'm going to keep knitting off the skein. I did get the gauge. I like using a US 3. I am doing an adult large. And the reason I like 24, well, the pattern actually tells me 24 3/4 inches from tip to tip. And that will give you enough so that I have a nice rim when you fold it to go around the ears. So I think maybe that
I sure like those colors.
I do too. Yeah, she just came out with another one on the solar system. That's pretty cool.
Ooh.
Well, anyways, I can stop staring at it like I never see it. Okay. It is a pattern. I gave $3 signs, and I gave the yarn $3 signs as well. She has another fun colorway called Concrete and Tulips. Imagine this, but with every other stripe being gray for the concrete.
Ooh.
Yeah, so, but I actually passed by on that deal this week. Can you imagine?
Oh, you did. Your self-control
Never
never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah, Amazon said, or the Postal Service said they could not get one more thing in my mailbox. Yeah, anyways.
Well, why don't you just put a second mailbox out there?
Good thinking. I like the way you think. I always figure if we don't see the Amazon truck several times during the week, they're going to send out a notice too. I just pulled a bunch of stitches off the needle. Anyway, oh, you know what? And you are monogamous. You have nothing else, right? Or do you?
No, I'm just working on this scrappy blanket right now on the podcast.
Believe it or not, I only have 3 works in progress. And they were making fun of me. I have no UFOs. So I just have well, you know, my monthly things that I'm doing once a month. I want to give you an update on monogamous. Oh my goodness, where's my thinking? On ranunculus. It kind of sounds like
monogamous.
Pattern by Midori Haruso. It's a paid for pattern on Ravelry. Yeah, I am telling you, and now everybody has seen this. I like that yoke.
And I think you can really see it with that white or off-white color, Dawn.
Yeah.
I think that really helps us see it.
It's funny, you don't like to wear white. This is white, and I love it. A little bit about it is a paid for pattern. I'm using, the pattern calls for a US 10. I liked my gauge at a US 9. The pattern has up to 20 inches of positive ease. So pick your size, pick your yarn. How she was able to create that is beyond me. I loved knitting that yoke as far as shoulder construction. Now I've knit now 2 sweaters. So who am I to say I like the construction. I am going for a longer length. I'm not doing cropped, and I am going to go for the longer sleeve option. The yarn I am using, I believe, was is limited run of yarn. This is by Plymouth Yarn. It's called Reserve Sport Solid. It's 45% fine merino, 35% silk, 20% bamboo. It has a nice twist to it. It is soft, squishy. So the drape will be amazing. Now I am also pairing it with a loft, which is the mohair from Knit Picks, and I'm using the white colorway for that. Now, I'm in a class at Silver Thimble, and the other day, a few of us were knitting on this, and I saw the ladies, when they put theirs down at the table, they were starting to A-line a little bit to come out for the hips. And we all have the same problem, I guess. And I was like, you guys, how did you do that? Tell me how you did your increases. What increases did you use? How often? And they just looked at me and said, we just increased needle size. That's all they did. They just went from a 9 to a 10. So I did it. I went from a 9 to a 10. I'm not so sure I can tell because the mohair covers a multitude of errors.
All
And
right, so I have a question, Dawn.
Yeah.
Won't that eventually just even itself out? So then do you have to go up to a 10.5 or 10 3/4?
The one gal finished at a 10, and the other gal went to 10.5 for the ribbing so that the ribbing didn't cinch in. It just kind of hung. I haven't decided what I'll do for the border. One of these nights with Knitting with the Aunties, when it gets long enough, I'll try it on and you guys can give me your suggestions. I'm open to anything. I will probably do a little bit of the blousey or sleeves because I really like that on my last sweater. Yep, so that's ranunculus.
Very, very pretty.
And let me see, how did I rate that on the Frugalometer? I gave the pattern a $2 sign, and I gave the yarn, am I looking wrong? I did. The pattern is $3 signs, and so is the fiber.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I like this Aloft mohair. I don't know if I could say I can feel a huge difference between this and Rowan Kid Silk Haze. So definitely Aloft is at a much better price point. And that was just on sale at Knit Picks for 30% off. So I thought that was a good deal. I didn't buy any because I have a fair share right now, but yeah, ranunculus.
Very pretty.
The last update is my Olga Jazzy UI.
Dawn.
This is now my new shawl that never ends.
Gee, that is just beautiful.
Now, do you ever do wishful knitting? Like you wished what repeat you were on versus what you're so on Tuesday night Zoom, there's like 4 of us knitting it. Miss Angela is done.
Oh my goodness, she's a speedster.
Yeah. There's 4, wait till you see her, is red, white, and black. 14 repeats. I swear I was on number 11. I counted. I just finished 8. I have so much more to do. Oh, I so wanted to be done so we could cast on our May shawl, which is Graceful by Kelly Monster. But anyway, beautiful. It is as textural. I showed it last time. You can just see that texture. Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, this will be a showstopper. Can you imagine wearing that? Look at that. Wow. I'm just going to leave it right there. Like it's a Miss America sash. Okay.
Well, there it is. You would be Mrs. America.
Let's see. Yarn is by Woolfolk. It is the Tav DK cream, charcoal, and gray on a US 6. That is the pattern. That's the yarn that's in the picture on the pattern. That's got to go $4 or $5 signs for that yarn. And the pattern, I used $3 signs. Gosh, I like it. I like it a lot.
I do too. I just think it's gorgeous, Dawn.
A brilliant design on how I'm carrying the yarn. You don't see those, it's not perfect on the back, but how she has you carry the yarn up the I-cord edge is amazing. That cast on was amazing. I've said amazing how many times?
I don't know, but you could do it one more because it is just beautiful.
You guys, it is as beautiful as it looks. Remind me to move my stitch marker. I think that's where I was last time.
What? You've knit that much?
Well, it's been 3 weeks, but I wanted to do more, but but those are my 3 active projects. Now I'm in 2 monthlies. And so should we just segue over to finished objects?
We certainly can. Go ahead.
Okay. I am participating in the Mystery Knit Along, the Celtic Quilt 4 by Louise O'Neill. And we are on month 8 of 9. And there is this month's.
Oh.
So these increases pull for me. But they're getting better. And of course I say that we're just about done.
Practice learning.
No doubt. That is Plymouth Yarn Encore in the worsted weight. I'm doing a light gray and a medium gray. So this is the light gray. It is knit on a US 7 and a US 8. And I gave the pattern $2 signs and the yarn $1 sign. And I'm using that try-it-on tubing just to hold the blocks. I've been trying to block 17 inches square. I'm sure when she tells us to join, one of the first things we're going to have to do is make sure all of our squares are blocked the same. So I wouldn't be surprised I have to reblock. Now, you don't have to block, but it has to be podcast pretty.
Hey, you should have told me that before we started doing this podcast.
What's that blip right there? Oh, it's just a yarn thing. Bummer. The yarns. Sometimes yarn gets a little thicker in one spot.
It does, yes.
So Louise O'Neill's brilliant. Some of the people who are doing this are going to start one of her other blankets right away. Maybe not the Celtic one, but she does quite a few that were knit-alongs where you do just a little bit every month. So what a great way to learn cables.
Absolutely.
So that is one of my finished objects. How about you?
Actually, I finished the Annie cowl, but of course you all know I don't block until my pile is knee high. So I just want to show everyone, this was a fun, relaxing, very rhythmic knit. It is reversible. This pattern is by Jane Richmond. This is one side of the pattern, kind of waffled, textured. The back side, not so much, more stockinette, right? Yes, it is quite long. So here is one, and my arm span is a little over 3 feet. So it will make a nice infinity scarf. I will block it first, and then I'm going to weave it together, and it will be a gift. So once I get that done, I'll probably put it on Opal for a podcast so you can see what it looks like. As you can tell, probably not ideal color choice for this pattern because you can see that it interferes with the pattern, but I wanted to use up, remember my experiment this year is purchasing no yarn and purchasing no patterns, using only what I have. So this was Lorna's Laces Sport, and it was knit specifically for Knit Stars 1. Dawn and I joined that, and I wanted to use it up, and I used up every bit of it. I have literally nothing left. This is, well, I shouldn't say that, maybe a couple of feet. That's it. Now, that's to weave in the end. I knitted on a size 9 fiber, gave $4 signs on the frugalometer, and the pattern $1 sign. So once I get it blocked, I will show it to you all.
I like sport weight.
I do too. I've enjoyed knitting with it.
I don't have much in my stash, but I do like it.
I agree. And I believe the recipient of this will be able to use this in a multitude of ways because it does have different colored speckles in it. It was knit having to do with the galaxy. So there's some blues, golds, greens, very pretty.
I do like it.
What about you? What's off your needles?
Okay, number 29, Flowery Scarf.
Woo!
By Susan Ederle. It is done.
Oh, we have to see this.
That is a good example of all the colors. And on and on.
Oh, Dawn.
The pattern calls for 23 of these little leaves.
Yes.
And the pattern says it'll be 72 inches long.
Do you have 23 leaves?
I have 23 leaves and 120 inches. I did not block. I used no pins. I used 2 of the big 6 Zauer balls. The gray I used almost completely. I bet I had to use 15 grams of the second Zauer ball for the black and burgundy gradient. And it has an entire applied I-cord border around the whole thing. Forever.
Could I say
Look at that.
stunning?
See that? I see a hole. What's up with that?
Uh-oh. Mark it.
What is that? That is a hole. I'll be dipped. Oh, yarn join. Okay. I need to tighten that up. So this is a class I took at Silver Thimble Quilt and Yarn in Green Bay, Wisconsin. It is all using German short rows. The teacher did an excellent job creating little cheat sheets for us to keep going. I use stitch markers every single leaf and every single wedge. You get really good at short rows after doing a project like this. Okay, so here's the funny story on this. It's blocking and Steve comes in. I block on a bed in our spare bedroom. And he comes in, he's like, wow, that is a very striking scarf. Who knit it? Who knit it? Okay. I just looked at him and I gave him that wifely glare that means, dude, you are in so much trouble. You have no idea. Now, my sister will defend my husband because she's just that kind of a person. I block shawls for a lot of people. So he sees shawls that he's never seen before. And then, but I worked on this in the morning when it was quiet at the house and he was already at work. So he would never have seen me working on it. So, but I told him I'm milking that for all it's worth. You bet. Who knit that?
So I think we have a genetic trait in our homes. In our home, you have to work very hard to get wife of the year, mother of the year, sister of the year, right? And husband of the year, etc. You can lose it very easily though, for the record. And that means no Christmas or birthday. So I am pleading on behalf of Steve, although he may have lost husband of the year, I would like you to carefully consider that perhaps it might be worth reinstating after some time, right? Don't make it too long.
I know. And what was it instinctually? I just said, oh, I see some cashmere in the very Happy Mother's Day to me. As the U-Haul truck backs up. Oh, too funny. Details on that, I gave it, did I say that? It's on a US 6. I use Zauberball edition 6. The colorways are on my project page because I cannot pronounce the names. The pattern I gave a $2 sign and the yarn I gave a $3 sign on the frugalometer. So that is to get us ready to do Papillon. So anybody who's interested, in July, some of us are going to cast on Papillon, which is the butterfly shawl. And now there's a poncho version of that as well. So there's been great discussion on Tuesday nights, whether people are doing the shawl or the poncho. I'm about 50-50 given the day, whether I'll do one or the other. I just happen to have yarn to do either one. Yeah. So, all right. And then I think I have a COFO casted on finished object since the last podcast. Can I take this off? This
yes, you may.
This is called Swarf, SWARF. It is in the Modern Daily Livings Marls book. The pattern is by Cecilia Campacario. I was asked to do this as a shop model. It is a Dickie. Yay, those of us born in the 60s and 70s. This is a modern twist. Now it is part of the Marls book. So obviously the whole Dickie is marled and you can see a pretty simple pattern.
Like a basket weave almost?
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Anne asked me to knit this. She picked the color sequence and she's got a great eye for color. I knit it all in Rowan felted tweed, 5 different colorways. They're on my project page. If you see the pattern in the book, you have no idea it's a Dickie because it's underneath a long coat. So you would think it's like a vest. Look at the back. The back is just ribbed and it's in a shorter length.
Sure is.
In a cowl. So can you just see
I like it better on than I do just holding it up.
And you could easily rib this cowl if you wanted. Now the pattern was not written for DK weight, so I had to do a gauge swatch and make the necessary adjustments. All of those are on my project page. So it blocked to a 1/2 inch from what it was. So I did not have to aggressively block. This whole marling was fun. I love Rowan felted tweed. It's a little drying on my hands, is the only negative thing I could say. I just have to use a little more lotion. Some people thought they would do it knitting the back exactly like the front. There's 3 different lengths. This is the longest of the lengths, and it changes by the number of repeats you do if you wanted to make it a medium length or a shorter length. I just think under a coat, this would be amazing.
I do too.
I will deliver that today. So that again was part of a little booklet. It's knit on a US size 8. The pattern is $3 signs for both the pattern and the yarn. I had leftover of the beige, the rust, and the other taupe. I used all of the blue. So, and I literally knit 2. I ran out of yarn, and I think I was within maybe a 1/2 inch of what the pattern called for the length of the neck.
Wow.
So if you're into Dickies or that look, that was a quick knit. I enjoyed it.
I think what I like about that, Dawn, similar to a cowl versus a scarf under a jacket, you're not having to worry about ends flying all over.
No, it stays in place. It stays in place. That's what I'm
Yes.
really liking about cowls right now. All right. And you have another finished project, don't you?
I do. I have a COFO.
You have one too.
Yeah, it's kind of odd for me to have that, but I am privileged to say that I have been a test knitter for the first launch of Frivolous Dawn's patterns that she has designed. Look, my first cowl. So Dawn designed this cowl pattern for her beginning knitting class, and it has been a pleasure to knit. I used scraps from my stash. This happens to be in Rowan Pure Wool Superwash DK. That's what I knitted in, DK. And I still have leftover yarn. I don't know what I'm going to do. But anyway, what a treat, Dawn, to knit it. It was well written. I liked the way you set your pattern template up. I'm also going to tech edit it for her, but we'll get that done, and she will then tell you how you can acquire this pattern. I knit it to the pattern. I haven't measured my gauge yet. I'm going to do that after I block. So, you know, that may be like 6 months down the road. But anyway, it is knit in an off-white, red, and gray. I knit it on a size 9, and on the frugalometer yarn, $4 signs on the frugalometer, and pattern priceless. It's my sister's first. So thank you for the pleasure, Dawn. It just knit up exactly like you did it. And I won't give away all of the details, but the way Dawn writes a pattern is not only does she write it out, she has a tracking element in there to help you row by row track. So
Thank you.
I think you're going to want to knit this. Beautiful. I'm looking forward to not only blocking it, but wearing it and then making more.
Yeah, thank you. It's
sis.
been fun to try to, and then thank you for tech editing, because that's definitely not in my wheelhouse.
Well, thank you for going out there, because we love the work you do.
Now, my last finished object is my monthly block for my blocking class. This is a book by Michelle Hunter, Building Blocks. I am taking a class at, again, Silver Thimble in Green Bay, and I'm learning to knit continental. So my gauge is still a tad off. And these were bobbles. I do Stephen West bobbles, not the Michelle Hunter bobbles. So they both create the same. But my tension is getting a little bit better. So,
yeah.
You know what? That's not this month. That was last month. What the heck?
Did you finish 2 this month?
No, I showed that last time. I was wondering, why is it so nicely blocked? That was this month's, and you can see it's not blocked. So this was a very simple lace pattern. So this is this the 4th one of 12? I'm doing all white. I'm using Simplicity or by HiKoo, Simply Worsted, a super wash. And I'm using a, let me get this right, a US size 9.
Liking it very much.
I still struggle with tension a little bit more on Continental.
I was just going to say, did you notice a difference with lace?
Yeah, I did. And you can see it all at the top of these diamonds. That top loop is too loose.
Oh, okay. I didn't even notice it. Okay.
If I pull it, it looks a little bit better, but you know, yeah. And who knows now, this will just be this isn't a wet block since it's super wash. So, but like
it's just going in the wash
of the difference before blocking. So
yeah.
I'll gain a little bit. Assuming they should all be blocked the same size, I would think. Yeah. All right.
Okay. What are we learning?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to let you start off. I'm going to leave and be right back. Okay.
Sure.
All right, go for it. What are you learning?
Well, I went to class last week. I attended sock school for the circular sock machine. And so it was a class I took in Southern Indiana, and it was taught by Jamie Mayfield. She has a company called CSM Supplies. I'll put that link in. She also is the creator of the new sock machine that's going to hit the market later this year called True Knit. But I took the class, both beginner and advanced, just so I can learn to troubleshoot the machine better. I also wanted to learn some what they call fancy stitches. So a couple of things as I drop these. In the beginning class, we knit these or crank these. So this is just a pair of shorties. I was comfortable with the techniques, but I was learning to change color again. But also I tried this picot edge on a hung hem. I don't know, I need to wear it to see where that hits my shoe. I think this needs to be at a tighter gauge. You see where it's a little floppy?
Yeah.
But what's fascinating is this deep heel. Now, that was a term new to me. If I'd heard it before, I'd ignored it. So the heel is created on the machine. This whole thing is created on the machine. I just have to kitchen it at the toe. When I do 64 stitch socks, my heel is half of those stitches, or 32 stitches. And I would do like a fish lips kiss. This is a very similar heel to a fish lips kiss. But they recommended for shorties to at least try a deeper heel. So I picked up 4 more stitches on each side. So instead of 32, I ended up picking up 40 stitches for the heel. So the heel is deeper. And some of the philosophy on that is it works well with people with high arches or a little bit thicker ankles. But they have found it to sit a little better for these short socks so the heel doesn't slip down into your shoe. Now, here's how it was explained to me. You know how most socks, the leg comes down and then the foot comes down at an angle, like if I was holding the sock blocker like this? A deep heel allows it to be at a more acute angle, more of a 90-degree angle.
Aha, yes.
Now, I'm going to try it. In fact, Nikki and Donna both said they would be guinea pigs, and the gal who does my hair said she would too. I want to know how this feels. I'll probably wear this pair since I did it to my size. I also need to practice different cuffs. I tend to like a ribbed cuff, but that was during the beginning class. So that was very good. Getting used to using or doing the heel. So for brand new people to the machine, a heel can be a little perplexing the first 100 times you do it. So, and that was fun. That was the waste yarn they gave us to do. I mean, they provided the yarn, not waste yarn, project yarn. I thought that was very gracious.
That was very gracious.
I'm going to try not to. Okay, this is a pool noodle. It shows the stitches I learned.
Dawn!
Look at this. This is a scalloped edge as opposed to a picot edge. This is like the breast cancer ribbon.
Yes.
I'm off one row on there, but I can do lace now on the machine. Look at this lace pattern. Oh my goodness.
It.
Look at that. And
I like it.
but can you believe cables on the
No.
machine? Oh my goodness. So this is a little fancier cable. So this is a 3-stitch cable. This is a moving cable or traveling cable, and this is a 4-stitch cable. We also learned how to put holes in by choice, like we do in thumb, like for fingerless gloves.
Yes.
So, and we learned more color changes. And you guys, the bottom is Fair Isle. Now this is duplicate stitch, and you can see where I have a huge tension issue in my duplicate stitch. It's not very even. But if I wanted to do Argyle, to create the Argyle pattern, and you can see I'm still off 1 stitch on the color join. Can you see? You can really see that in the blue.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah. So that'll be more practice. I think I'm going to practice lace by doing Christmas ornaments.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm going to add beads and then maybe cables. And then once I get okay on a little ornament, then I might try them on the leg of a sock. Who knew you could do all this on a sock?
Definitely not me. I would not have ever imagined that.
Amazing class, amazing teachers. I'll talk more about that under honorable mentions. So very good.
Very cool.
Yep. Now I need to practice every day and put into play what I learned.
Ooh, yeah, that helps our learning, doesn't it?
Yeah. So what have you learned?
Well, I learned similar to you. I took some courses this past weekend through the Knitting Guild of America. They had their annual, I'm going to say conference. I don't know the correct term. I did not write it down. Anyway, I took courses under advanced skills and techniques because I would at some point like to go through a master knitting course or a professional knitters course so that, as you know, I can make my garments and projects look more polished. And I learned so much. I was humbled by what I thought I knew, but really didn't know, or had over time maybe picked up some bad habits that I am now trying to change. So I'll just mention one because it's was mentioned in our last episode. I learned a technique that I think is much more polished for weaving in ends. And I learned a technique related to that called reverse duplicate stitch. I'm sure that that is easy for many people to do, but I did not create a swatch to practice on. So that's what I'm doing with this scarf of yours, Dawn. I completely frogged this and reknit it. So it's been knit twice because the first time I wove my ends in as I usually do. And when I tried to back it out, I created holes that I didn't like. So I just frogged the entire cowl and reknit it. So I have all my ends on the inside where I am going to learn how to do these more professionally. So I need to work on that, but I was very grateful for that conference. I thought their lessons were professional. Every session was pre-recorded. It was professional. It was organized. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Well,
I'm learning what I don't know.
Oh, very good. So what is going on at Frivolous and Frugal?
Well, as you know, as the summer approaches, we get a little bit slower. So we are slowing down a bit. We have a YouTube giveaway though for this episode. And if you're interested in being tossed into the random number generator, we would like you to provide a comment to answer this question. Our question is, where do you take your knitting in the summer and why? So in other words, no, you don't take, it's not like you just take it to the Goodwill and drop it off. We want to know, where do you take your knitting? Where do you sit down and knit in the summer? Do you have a favorite place, a favorite location? Maybe perhaps it is a tradition that you might have. Please share that in the comments. And during episode 83, we will announce our winner. We are still keeping up with the Finish, Fix, Flip, or Frog It Cowl. We have a new winner who will be announced in episode 84. So keep posting in our Ravelry thread. We also had several surprise giveaways from Frivolous Dawn for the Fab and Frugal Cowl. She was able to just find a few patterns to offer out to people. So we're grateful for all of our participants there, and especially grateful for Miss Norma's moderation. But our official next giveaway will be during episode 83. Our hat cowl is weighing in the balance. That cowl is not getting a lot of traffic. We'll try one more month, and if it slows down, then we will likely close that thread. But if you're interested in joining us for May's knit along, it will be the Iris Garden hat by Rachel Ramo. We did choose an April winner for that cowl, and it is Deb STL. Miss Debbie, thank you so much for not only your comments, but for contributing a picture on the tailor beanie that you knit for your husband. So if you'll message Dawn, your gift is a pattern of your choice not to exceed $10, and she will help you with those arrangements. My dear Stephen West cowl, I guess is still going on, right?
It's kind of ongoing. Yep. A lot of people are doing the painted patterns that just came out. So, and I think several other podcasts are doing similar knit alongs to that. And they're on Tuesday night, join in just to see some spectacular Stephen West shells right now.
That's neat.
Yeah.
So if you're in that group and you're posting on the thread, make sure you return for episode 84 because we will have a giveaway during that episode. Dawn's Tuesday night Zooms knitting together is still going on from 6 to 8 Central Standard Time. Please join her. It's a very relaxed and informal time of knitting with others who really just like to share and talk about their knitting. As you know, our virtual knit togethers have been postponed for a time throughout the summer. We will revisit those in the fall to see if there is a need for those to start up. If you are getting ready and you want to visit Chicago, but even more than that, if you want to visit the Frivolous and Frugal Fiber family, then you need to join us in July for our mini meetup. Once again, we will be meeting in Hoffman Estates at isn't it a Hilton Garden Inn? Is that what it is?
It is.
Okay, thank you. And that will be July 29th and 30th. All the information you need for that is in our Ravelry thread. Also, the coupon for discounts on rooms are available. The hotel is offering discounts beginning Thursday night, and they will go through Saturday night. Now, we're going to keep telling you this just so you understand. This is nothing fancy. We literally do nothing but get together and knit. That's it. There are no big giveaways, no big swag bags, no international knit designers, no limos, no running lights and toasts and things like that. It is just knitting together. The only thing that might be a little bit upscale for us would be there will be a little show and tell time. And that's for knitted items only, please. We don't need any personal show and tell. And then the other thing might be a little birthday party, a podiversary celebration. And that's about it. So yeah, I can't understate this enough. But if you love the fellowship amongst fellow knitters, this is the place for you. You're going to love it. And were you going to say something, Dawn?
We're co-sponsoring it with the 3-Ply podcast ladies, but I think they're having their viewers all just come to our Ravelry page for all of the information. So if you found us via 3-Ply, thank you. And the 3 ladies, Miss Irene, Miss Joyce, and Miss Angie will be at the entire weekend as well. So
yes, and I do just need to plug our 3-Ply sisters a little bit, because I don't know, Dawn, that we've ever met a group of women who are just so authentic and welcoming and wanting to work together as Miss Irene and Miss Angie and
Joyce.
Joyce, Miss Joyce. I'm sorry, Miss Joyce. That was not intentional. So ladies, you know how much we love you, but we have to say that again. And we want to love your fiber family as much as we love ours. So if you're part of their podcast and you are interested, please join us. I think you'll find this group to be very encouraging, very uplifting, inspirational too, very gracious. So it'll be a weekend that you'll remember. And then that takes us into honorable mentions. So I know, Dawn, you have a couple. Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
You can start.
Okay. As I told you, we do have a family tradition on how you to get husband of the year, mother of the year, wife of the year. And I just would like to thank my husband for the beautiful flowers that are behind me. He did get husband of the year for that. I told him, you know, he's on thin ice, so don't mess up. Try to keep this award for some time. But anyway, thank you, love, for the beautiful flowers. And thank you to all of you who sent birthday wishes. I understand that someone may have posted it because I'm not on Facebook. I don't know these things. So thank you, sis, for doing that. Thanks for helping me celebrate my birthday. Thank you for all your kind thoughts and the time you took to send me a message. And for Sister of the Year, you and Nikki both won Sister of the Year, but this is what my dear sister Dawn sent me for my birthday. It is the Knitting Cable Source Book by Nora Gahn. And I cannot wait to dive into this. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for all your love. And you're not on thin ice when it comes to Sister of the Year. Neither is Nikki, just so you know. But don't tell my husband that, okay? And then I'd also like to shout out a deep thank you again of gratitude to Miss Misty. MB Misty Blue, we are just so grateful for you. You blessed Dawn and I with a pattern very unexpectedly. It was just a gracious gift. So thank you, darling. We send you oodles of air hugs and love and hope you and the family are doing well. And we wish you only the best.
Yeah, my thank you will go to the two teachers at sock school. You know, I think as a teacher, I find myself when I'm in a class, not only hoping to learn what I'm there for, but I watch other people's teaching styles. And Miss Jamie and Miss Jenny, two totally different teaching styles, and they complemented each other so well. And just an example is Jamie she said she is a get her done kind of girl, and Miss Jenny is get her done right. Totally different concepts with the same goal in mind. And it is so refreshing to be taught by experts. I think both of them have well over 30 years on the circular sock machines. Their wisdom is hard to put into words because they can approach any machine from any company and try to help you troubleshoot it. So that was fascinating to watch. And they're patient, but they're detailed, and they wanted us to be as successful as we wanted to be. And maybe they were more encouraging because, you know, sometimes when you're frustrated, you just want to walk away. It was 4 days of 8 hours a day of nonstop amazing education. So long drive, but well worth it. And thank you to both of them for being great educators and passing along the art of the circular sock machine. So I learned so much and look forward to learning more. So thank you, ladies. I don't know if they watch or not, but.
Oh, well, we hope they do. And I think both of us would say our cups are full and overflowing. Absolutely. With the kindness of people. And we are very, very grateful for that. And speaking of kind, our dear sister, Faithful Nikki, is so kind about sharing a nugget with us for every episode. So during What Would Nikki Say, this happened to be next. Think about it. It's a great quote. She said, working on a new technique in either knitting or golf is always a struggle at first, but with patience and practice, You will succeed and be thankful you learned something new.
Wow.
Wow. I know. It was just like, how does she know these things? Well, she knows us well, but thank you, sis, for these contributions, because we know there are a couple viewers who only watch to get your nugget. So thank you. They wait all the way to the end, or they fast forward just so they can hear what would Nikki say. So if you're one of those people and you're over, this is a good time for us to say we're so glad you joined us for episode 82 of the Frivolous and Frugal podcast. And we're hoping that your week will be a sweet twist of both the frivolous and the frugal. Thanks so much for joining us, and look forward to seeing you, even if it's only for what would Nikki say, for episode 83. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.